Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Super Expert here. So we are doing questionable critic reviews. This time we're going to be looking at Venom in preparation for Venom 2 Let There Be Carnage. I'm pretty pumped for this film. The first Venom was good. It wasn't anything spectacular, but audiences loved it. I had a lot of fun. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. It was just something you ate popcorn with and watched. So I am definitely ready for the second one. In the meantime, we're going to take a look at some of the critic reviews of the first one because some of these critics really did not have a good time watching this movie, and we're going to see what some of them say about it. So let's just get started. First off, we have Nicholas Barber from BBC.com. He says, however tough your job may be at the moment, you can take comfort in the knowledge that it could be worse. You could be a publicist working for Sony Pictures. Here's the thing, though, Nicholas. Venom made almost $1 billion, so I'm pretty sure you're feeling pretty good if you're a publicist for Sony Pictures. That movie performed very well. I don't know if this review came out before Venom was released or something, but I would like to be in a job like that after the success of this movie. So he goes on to explain the plot of Venom, which includes an alien crash landing on Earth. There's two of them. They fight each other. You guys know the story. If you're watching this, you've probably seen Venom, so I don't need to explain the whole plot to you. I think the funniest thing about this whole review, I don't really have a ton to say about it, is at the very bottom, they compare the final fight scene with Terminator 2 Judgment Day, because it was very dark and you couldn't tell which one's which and all that kind of stuff. But at the very bottom, the last sentence, that film, you might recall, was positioned as the first episode in a long-running franchise, but no sequels were ever made. It's unlikely that any Venom sequels will be made either. Well, Nicholas, turns out you were wrong. This movie was very successful, and there is a sequel coming. And people are pretty hyped about it, too. I don't know if you've seen the trailer, the views, the likes and dislikes. People are hyped about the next Venom. Myself included, by the way. All right, so this critic review is by Richard Trenholm. Rich, if I can call you Rich. Sorry, I didn't ask. Rich, we're going to take a look at your review. Again, explaining some of the plot. In Venom, a new movie based on the Marvel comic, now in theaters worldwide. Tom Hardy plays Brock, a hapless ex-reporter who hears a nasty voice in his head. Voice in his head, huh? Sounds scary. Is that supposed to be you or someone else? I don't really know what's going on here. See, if I was writing a review, I'd just stick to one kind of point of view, but to each their own. Let's see how it goes. When he accidentally bonds with a very hungry alien symbiote called Venom, it's only the latest blow for Brock, who has lost his fiancée and his job when he stumbled onto the nefarious plans of a Silicon Valley tech billionaire. Nefarious. Those big words don't impress anybody, buddy. Big words? What are you talking about? You're a critic, man. You're writing on CNET.com. You're trying to relate to the dumb people or something? I don't know what that's supposed to be. I can't hear you. Anyway, there's an awful lot of setup. All of it deeply formulaic. Formulaic isn't a big word. Okay, sorry, just commenting. Detailing of how Brock is brought low. It seems to take forever to get to the fun part, which occurs when Venom forms a codependent relationship with Brock. If threatened, the sticky symbiote pops out of Brock's body, extruding glistening black spikes like a bunch of cheese strings dipped in motor oil, and impossibly extending limbs like a cartoon character whose fist turns into a hammer to biff the bad guys. Geez, you get paid to write this? I was going to ask the same thing about you and your article. It really comes into its own with flashes of a demented buddy movie as symbiote and host battle for control. Brock is confused and confounded by his new inner monologue and its overwhelming urge to bite people's heads off. Except this is a PG-13 instead of an R like they planned. I don't know. Did they plan that? I don't know. So there's a whole lot of talking about head chomping and nowhere near enough actual chowing down. There is a reason that they do PG-13 instead of R, and I think it speaks for itself in this case. So he goes on describing the rest of the plot. Unfortunately, the movie insists on veering away from the gruesome twosome's blackly comic interplay to keep doing movie things, like endlessly repeating the villain's villainy or reminding us about Brock's uninteresting love interest. It would be way more fun if all this familiar superhero fodder was dropped and we had 90 minutes of Hardy and his alien interloping, arguing, eating people, and arguing about eating people. 90 minutes of that? That would get boring, man. There's got to be other stuff than that. Seriously. Instead, the tediously familiar movieing continues right up to another noisy, bludgeoning CG brawl between digital characters. Okay, so let me get this straight. Instead of the fighting and any romance at all, you would rather just have arguing and biting heads off. That's it. I'm sure someone can make a movie like that. It doesn't even need to be Venom. Well, quite despite Venom's roots as a character in the Spider-Man comics, this Sony-produced film isn't connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But, as is inescapable nowadays, there's a mid-credits scene setting up another installment in Sony's Venomverse. This sequence feels hugely disjointed from the rest of the movie, as if the scenes which precede and explain it were cut at the last minute, but it's still an intriguing Easter egg for comic book fans. And he follows that sentence up with, "Okay, fanboys, enjoy stage whispering. That's from the comic to your non-existent girlfriends while everyone else is just trying to get out of the freaking theater." Nice. I don't think we've ever heard that one before. Comic fans being virgins who don't have girlfriends. I don't think we've heard that before, that insult. No, that's pretty original. I think he came up with that himself. Yeah, that was good. Now I see why you get paid the big bucks to write these reviews. It's fair to say that Venom has a few gaps in narrative logic. This is the dumbest movie ever. Now that's critiquing. So dumb. Again, this is just brilliant critiquing. And he finishes with, "It's no Infinity War, but Venom delivers flashes of Saturday night silliness when the unhinged human alien two-hander are on screen." Like Eddie Brock himself, the movie is fairly unexciting until the bad guy pops out. I thought he was just complaining about the bad guy. I don't know. I don't get this, but there you go. Richard Trenholm from CNET.com. All right, our next review is by Al and Linda on moviesandshakers.com. Let's take a look to see what they have to say. So, first they explain the plot, as usual, with all these critic reviews. So, with all this potential, why does Venom fall so far from the mark? Let's start with the heavy-handed direction of Ruben Fletcher. I think I said that right. The action sequences are labored and clunky. The special effects evoke more primitive times. In the genre, Venom's long, slithery tongue and picket fence teeth look like they're right out of the comic book that came out in 1984. Now, in my opinion, when you're making a comic book movie, that's a compliment. That's not a bad thing. I mean, I know there's like stylistic choices you can make and stuff, but that sounds more like a compliment. Like if I read that in a different way. I love the Venom movie. It is so amazing. Venom's long, slithery tongue and picket fence teeth look like they're just right out of the comics from 1984. It's going to blow your mind, man. See what I mean? That sounds more like a compliment. Mostly they just describe the plot after that. But once again, they question the sequel, which, as we all know, if you can endure sitting through the long and even longer final credits, stay for all the post clips which promise a sequel. Woody Harrelson is even listed in the credits to drum up some interest in another installment. The sound team electrically manipulates Tom Hardy's voice to give Venom that gravely, deep voice inside his head. If Venom were talking to Hardy today, after seeing this unmarvelous film, we think he might just say, "Don't do this again." Nice. That's what I like in my reviews. Nice throwing down that P-bomb. That's what I'm talking about. Now this is a section called Red and Blue Come Together, because that's what this channel is really all about. We are bringing people together. Liberals and conservatives can always find a middle ground, especially when it comes to movies like Venom. Let's take a look at what some liberals and conservatives have to say. Venom is the Catwoman of toxic masculinity. It's bad, really bad. And on top of being bad, really bad, it also proudly presents a whole bunch of outdated, effed up gender politics. Venom is bad in a way I didn't think it was still possible for superhero movies to be. It's pre-Marvel Cinematic Universe bad. It's pre-X-Men bad. Venom has all the hallmarks of a superhero movie from 10 plus years ago. It's a long, boring origin story with incoherent stakes, an aggressive indifference to the source material, and the color palette of muddy garbage. Man! And then there's the gender stuff. Oh, I don't think you mentioned that before. Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't know that was coming in this review. Thank you. Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock is a mumbly, Vice-style video journalist. Hey, that's insulting to Vice. I would have thought you guys would have been on the same side on this. Video journalist who does stuff like show up outside his ex-girlfriend's house late at night and ask if they're getting back together 6 months after he got her fired and she dumped him. And while I realize that, yes, Eddie Brock is a big dumb jerk in the comics, Venom just treats this big dumb jerk like a lovable rascal. In his obligatory cameo, even Stan Lee plays into the movie's very bad take on relationship, urging Brock to get her back. Yeah, I mean, come on, he should just give up. Never try harder. Don't do that. Now let's see what the conservative side has to say about this movie. I don't know if they liked it any better. Venom? More like cyanide. The latest movie off the Marvel assembly line is a disaster on every level, from the hatchet job writing to the horrid performances. Like so many recent superhero movies, Venom has put its focus on juvenile humor instead of heart or action. I know, these superhero movies really... I've cried at almost every single one except Venom. I totally get where this guy's coming from. When I go to see a black space alien take over someone's body, I want to be crying in the theater. That's how I get in touch with my feelings. Tom Hardy plays Eddie Brock, the Guy Fieri of investigative journalists. Eddie is known for enthusiastically taking down powerful execs and politicians on cable TV, and he intends to do just that to Carlton Drake, CEO of the Life Foundation. He performs with a garbage disposal voice, mumbling rapidly in a scratchy whisper. He jumps around wildly like he's just escaped a straitjacket. Director Ruben Fletcher may have well said, "Tom, be crazy. Action!" Nobody expects Citizen Kane when they walk into a superhero movie, but they also don't expect an alien slug to call the main character a or to dish out relationship advice in a smooth Luther Vandross voice. The genuinely funny Deadpool movies have unleashed a slew of copycats trying to wring laughs out of hero stories. Venom gets laughs. The wrong kind. Okay. He does have a point. There were some parts in the movie that I did laugh at when it wasn't supposed to be funny. But, let's be honest here, this is just a dumb action movie, and that's why we all went there. To see a black alien kill a bunch of people with maybe some other story things, the other stuff can be thrown in, but mostly it's just a big action hero superhero movie. And once again, may I say, the results speak for themselves. If Venom seems like a rare miss for Marvel, that's because it was made only in association. In association with Marvel. It's actually a Sony product that's totally separate from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just tainted. Gross. That detached language, in association with, is used twice in the opening credits alone. Just need to take a shower after hearing that. My audience of film geeks was rolling with laughter before any character had even spoken. Man, now that's a theater I want to go to. They see in association with, and everyone just starts cracking up, rolling around on the ground. Movie theater floors are disgusting, so that takes some conviction. That's impressive. At Marvel's obvious attempt to distance itself from this wreck. I don't think Marvel really had a choice since Sony owns Venom, but okay, that's the end of the review, and I think that's going to wrap it up for today. So, one thing I'd like to mention before I go, the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer was also released recently, and it appears that Venom might be in the trailer. That would be cool. I used to watch the Spider-Man cartoon growing up, and Venom was always super cool, so I really hope Venom's in this next movie coming up. We already know Dr. Octopus. The early 2000s Spider-Man is going to be there, which is super awesome. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoy this content, like and subscribe, and I'll do more stuff like this. So, yeah. Let me know what you thought of Venom, the first Venom, 2018. Leave it in the comments below. I will be always responding to the comments, and let's see how Venom 2 goes, shall we?